25 years of fearless and impactful journalism. Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here in Kokomlemle at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including Victory FM in Aflao, Sunshine FM in Boko, Radio Sumale in Wa. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G. Just a touch. In this edition, Operation Vanguard Task Force ordered to withdraw from illegal mining across the country. Will bring you details. Meanwhile, small-scale mining task force uncovers dredging boats in their numbers on River Ankobra in the western region after it had destroyed about 250 of them in a 2-day operation there.
Daily dredging of the waterbed by many groups has caused the river to lose its natural clean look to deep brown side.
Majority Leader Defense Speaker of Parliament's threat of sanctions against the media yesterday, insisting it doesn't amount to an infringement on the media's rights.
Agreed with the issue that I brought up, and the Speaker summed up. And I thought that really was a father-son, father-daughter, more or less advice.
21-year-old student of Ghana National College in the grips of the police for raping a Form 1 girl in the same school. We have details, the life-changing experience of a village now able to connect to mobile telephony for the first time following a Joy News story.
Now if we get that emergency, so we can help ourselves. So if anywhere you can make a call, join these people. They have done what Napoli cannot do for us.
We'll bring you more in this impact story as Multimedia celebrates 25 years of media excellence in sports.
We'll take you close to the national amateur boxing team who are engaged in an Olympic qualifier in Dakar, Senegal, still searching for places and spots at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan.
And from the slum to an internationally recognized neurosurgeon, the story of Dr. Hadi Abdallah, who is now preaching hope to the poor and underprivileged.
So we go to the homes, we knock like what you call anywhere. Or press the bell, and when they come, we say, oh, do you have a place to weed? We weed and we take some money.
All that and more in this package with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. In our very first story, Joy News is picking information that the Operation Vanguard Task Force has been ordered to withdraw from all illegal mining areas across the country with immediate effect. Our sources say, barring any last-minute changes, the soldiers will start pulling out from tomorrow. The police are expected to take over. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko has been following this development closely. He will join us and will get some information from him on the latest development. But first, let's recap how we got here. Joy News' Kojo Yankson joins me in the studio. Kojo, tell us about the background of this task force.
Well, Emefa, on the 31st of July, at a ceremony on the parade grounds at Burma Camp, the President, represented by the Ministers of Defense and Interior, inaugurated Operation Vanguard, a task force made up of 400 police and military personnel. Now, the force received special training at the famous Bundase camp in Ningo Prampram and were presented with a fleet of vehicles before being deployed to 3 forward operating bases in the Ashanti, Eastern, and what was then the Western region.
Now, although they chalked some major successes initially, they were recently in the news after some excavators allegedly went missing.
Well, following the revelations from the chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Professor Frimpong Boateng, who sat right where you are on the Super Morning Show, that most of the 500 excavators seized by Operation Vanguard had gone missing, many pointed fingers at the Joint Police and Military Task Force, especially as a number of the missing excavators started to turn up on Galamsey sites back in the hands of the illegal miners. Now, more recently, Detective Sergeant David Jokoto, a police officer on Operation Vanguard, submitted a petition to the Interministerial Committee accusing a military member of Operation Vanguard of making up to 45,000 Ghana cedis every couple of weeks by performing illegal duties on mining sites in the central region, including obstructing the arrest of illegal miners.
Well, Kojo Yankson there giving us all that we need to know about this task force. Thank you, Kojo. Now, only yesterday, my colleague Latif Idris was with the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Mr. Sumatreme, who toured one of the forest reserves that have become targets of illegal miners. Latif will join us with details on that, but you can listen to the minister on the tour.
People have gone back to the field to do this, all because they have in mind that it is an election year, and for that matter, we will not rush on them, to pounce on them, to tell them to stop. So they are taking advantage of the fact that 2020 is an election year.
Is that what we should expect? That there's going to be a controlled collapse of the...
No. We are not expecting that. It means that they have told us to beef up our strength on the ground, our strategy on the ground, so that we can fight this menace. I made a statement to the effect that we are going to come up with new strategies to fight this galamsey, and media sought to know. Yes, I said yes. At the material time that this strategy will be full, it will be made known to the media, and the media will capture it.
It's taking close to a month.
It is not easy coming up with a strategy.
That's the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Asuma Treme. Let's stay a while longer on illegal mining, but this time in the Western region, where an operation by the Small-Scale Mining Task Force has uncovered dredging boats in their numbers on River Ankobra in the Western region. The boats, known as Chamfa, are largely responsible for contamination of river bodies. The latest revelation comes after the task force had destroyed about 250 of them in a 2-day operation in parts of the region. The task force believes faceless financiers of illegal mining are fighting back, getting new boats back into the river. Nana Yaojima traveled overnight with a team on the anti-galamsey operation to Prestia and its environs. Here's his report.
One Shanfine boat costs at least 15,000 cedis, but illegal miners dare to acquire them to dredge for gold in rivers. Members of the task force pull a Shanfine boat to the bank of the river for distraction. Others go after defiant dredgers who decided to stay put despite the presence of the task force. Enchi Abre is a resident here.
They came to this place on the boat. We asked them to leave, but they refused. We went to report them to the task force. They got wind of their coming and left. We returned after days. We tried to do it ourselves, but they outnumbered us.
Members of the task force pursued the dredgers and arrested 3 of them on the river. 2 of them admitted to have traveled from the Volta region to the west to man a boat here. The other claims to have gone there to help them pack their machines out of the place.
Boss, day for yours. Agbe is your boss. So Agbe who built the machine for you. Senior man day. Who is the senior man? He day for where? He day for yours. You don't know him. You are working with somebody, but you don't know that person. You don't know the person that you are working with. Only Agbe that you know.
The presence of the machines stretch along the river for as far as the eye can see. They are operational all week, except on Fridays.
You heard my colleague Nanaya Ojima's report from Prestia. Earlier I told you about an information that Joy News is picking up that the Operation Vanguard task force has been ordered to withdraw from all illegal mining areas across the country with immediate effect. Love FM's Erastus Sasaredonko has the very latest on this. He joins us. Erastus, what have you been able to gather regarding this information we've picked up?
So we have been able to confirm through sources within the seat of government that indeed the Operation Vanguard team has been asked to pull out from the illegal mining sites across the country, and it's starting from tomorrow. So from the western region, the base at Takwa will be moved out starting from the morning, and so in the Western region will take the lead tomorrow morning. The team will start from there in the morning, follow the region, and then Ashanti region will follow suit in March. In their absence, I'm reliably informed that the police have been asked to take charge.
Erastus, but have you been able to find out why this has become necessary?
What I'm learning is that it's because of the backlash against the military in recent times. Allegations of bribery in the fight against illegal mining, the insults and other things, the lack of confidence from the public, in the fight against illegal mining. And so an order which is coming in from the military command and the seat of government indicates that they should pull out, and in due time they should ask the police to rather take over, because it is their main duty to be doing some of these things.
Erastus, I know you've given us the timetable as to which areas will begin this, but we know exactly when it's going to take effect.
Starting from tomorrow, and so the process to pull out starts from tomorrow morning. From their base at Takwa, the team from Takwa, their base at Takwa, they will start folding up and pulling out. So the military guys over there will move their base and get back to Accra to report. And then it will be followed by the central region. They will also move out. And then Ashanti region will prepare and move out in March.
My colleague there, Erastus Asari Donko, and he'll be following that and give us more subsequently. But my colleague, like I said, Latif Idris, was with the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, and they toured one of the forest reserves that have become target of illegal miners. Latif, so you have extensively covered and followed the war against illegal mining right from the very onset. Tell me about what you saw yesterday and what used to be the case 3 years ago.
So, Emefa, when the whole war against illegal mining started, the ministers were on the ground, Operation Vanguard was on the ground, and so whenever Operation Vanguard goes on the ground, these illegal miners, upon seeing the Vanguard team, would take to their heels and run out of the mine site. Now, what is different is that yesterday, with the minister's entourage, with the convoy moving on the streets in Prestia, now we could see a number of miners doing their businesses by the shoulders of the road. They were not scared by the fact that this is a minister's convoy moving by them doing an illegal act. That is the difference, Emefa. Now, these illegal miners have been emboldened by whatever we do not know, but they are now doing it by the shoulders of the road with impunity, and that was in the Western region. Now, we know upon some of the tours we've gone with the minister, it suggests that not just in the Western region, but in other regions like the Ashanti region, when we visited last time, these illegal miners are back, and now they are doing it with so much confidence, Emefa.
That's my colleague Latif Idris, and he's just returned from a tour with the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. And that will be it for Galamsey issues and illegal mining on the Midday News. Like I said, we'll give you more subsequently, and also on myjoyonline.com you can read more on this. Now let's head to the Central Region, where a 21-year-old student of the Ghana National College is in the grips of the police for raping a Form 1 girl in the same school. Surprised? Richard Kujonyako has the very latest on this. Richard, what do we know?
Well, so Emefa, the Ghana National College authorities are the complainants in this case. They went to the police to report of the incident. We are told that 21-year-old Fred is a senior and is in Form 3 and invited the girl over to a place where it has a name, a particular name I have forgotten. It escaped me a bit. And so possibly had sex with the girl. So it got to the attention of the authorities, and so they went to the police to lodge the complaint, and then they came and effected the arrest of Frederick A.C. Now, Frederick A.C. is in the grips of the police at the Bakano police station, and then the case is being investigated by the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit. They say that they have sent the docket to the AG for advice, and so they will subsequently put the decision before court.
Well, but Frederick AEC, do we know who he is? I'm sure police have been telling you more about him, and you've also been interacting with families of both sides. What have they been telling you?
Also, Frederick AEC is a stepson of Deputy Minister of Water, Works and Housing, Barbara Shaisi. And incidentally, she is MP for Cape Coast North. He's also the son of Mr. Kojo AEC, and he is also the Badmo Communications Director. When the incident happened, the school authorities invited both parents, the parents of the victim and the parents of the suspect to the school, and then they had some talk before the suspect was arrested. And so I'm told that there are some psychologists the school has invited to work on the victim of this incident.
Well, that's Richard Kojonyako. There is our Central Regional Correspondent. Now let's head to Parliament, where the Majority Leader, Osechi Mensa Gold, has defended the Speaker's threat of sanctions against the media yesterday, insisting it doesn't amount to an infringement on the media's rights. Professor Michael Quay warned yesterday that journalists who report from outside the chamber whilst proceedings are ongoing will have the accreditation withdrawn. But some civil society actors criticize the directive, saying it is not grounded in law. Now, the Majority Leader, however, says every house has rules that need to be obeyed. Addressing a media earlier today with Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, he insisted the comment was a friendly advice.
The issue that I brought up, and the Speaker summed up. And I thought that really was a father-son, father-daughter, more or less advice. Because let's face it, there's no democracy that does not have rules. In your own respective houses, the houses that engage you will have their own policies. Is that not the case? And you are engaged because of the policy of a particular media house. If you go out and maybe the manager or whoever of that studio or of that media house calls you that, well, you are engaged for one or two things, and we believe what you are doing now is not consistent with the terms and conditions of your engagement. And maybe you are discussing that, and he tells you that you must conform to the rules. Would that be considered as an infringement on your rights? I'm not too sure about that.
That's the Majority Leader, Osechi Mensa Gold. Now, the Minority Leader, Haruna Idrisu, says the Speaker's comments should not be misconstrued.
I don't think that there will be any attempt by Parliament as an institution or its leaders to gag the press, and therefore don't misconstrue and don't misinterpret the directives of Right Honourable Speaker to that effect. What he sought to do probably was to advise that whilst we are in session, focus on considering matters within the chamber, and that the various caucuses can hold their press briefing and press engagement before sitting and outside sitting. It does not tie your hands at all, and there is no intention to tie your hands at all. That whilst you are in the chamber, if any matter is of interest to you, you are free to cover it. And we know as journalists, so we probably, this was avoidable in my honest view, and you probably misconstrued the Speaker's guidance as one which was high-handed to seek to gag you. Not the intention, and that is never the intention of the Speaker nor the leadership of Parliament. And be assured that we remain allies.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku Gakpo sat through that meeting. He joins us on the line. What was the reaction of the parliamentary press corps to this, explanation that was given by both the majority and the minority leader?
Well, in fact, just to paint the picture of the reaction that they gave, one of the members of the press corps asked the majority leader whether he would offer an apology over the demands that were made of journalists yesterday. And the majority leader responded by making the point that he owes no one an apology, which the members of the press corps are not exactly excited about.
So does it mean that the press corps is now free to do what they will, and in terms of seeking news whilst Parliament is in session? Was that an agreement that you all came to?
That's exactly what the majority leader, Osechi Mensa Gold, and the minority leader have actually been saying, that everything the Speaker said yesterday was more of an advice, and so the media is free to do their work right here in Parliament, except that in the course of the deliberation, when sitting resumed on the floor itself, Professor Michael Quay sought to address the issue himself once again. And he only went on to say that he's someone who has defended media freedom since 1967, and it's not now that things would change. But he went on to reiterate that his point was that he doesn't want to see people doing interviews and doing other business when sitting is going on right on the floor of the House. And he cited an example that when you go to a chief's palace at any point in time for a particular assignment, you have no business doing other things in the midst of that.
Well, quickly though, Joseph, this meeting that you held with the majority and the minority leader, did it happen whilst Parliament was in session?
This started sometime around 10 o'clock. Parliament is expected to begin sitting at 10 o'clock, but as at that time, the House hadn't actually started sitting. The House eventually started sitting some minutes close to 11 when eventually the Speaker walked in and the majority and the minority leaders came in. So it wasn't happening as at the time that Parliament was sitting, but it was happening at the time that Parliament was supposed to begin sitting, because Parliament usually starts sitting at 10 o'clock.
So what else quickly is happening on the floor?
The debate on the State of the Nation address has actually resumed. Katie Hammond, who is the MP for Adanse Asokwa, has been debating the issues the president raised in the energy sector, and he's been making a number of claims even as he debated the matter, including claims that some oil companies, including Anadarko, are escaping the payment of taxes to the tune of more than $500 million, which he thinks the House should take up and help the state to get in those amounts.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, our top stories in this package. Operation Vanguard task force ordered to withdraw from illegal mining areas across the country. Meanwhile, small-scale mining task force uncovers dredging boats in their numbers on River Ankobra in the western region. When we return, aggrieved customers of defunct gold dealership Mensa Gold question credibility of third-party entity Paid Boys selected by Mensa Gold to effect payments to customers.
The reason why we even doubt and we believe it's Mensa Gold who is even behind the whole thing is Payboy occupies the office of Xylophone Properties at Jowuli. Mensa Gold has not told us anything officially as to whether they instructed Payboy to be their third-party partner to pay customers.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
You certainly made the right choice by choosing the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's do sports. Nathaniel Atto has the latest.
And I chose to sit next to you, right?
I'm happy. Glad you did.
Let's talk some boxing now. And the national amateur boxing team, the Black Bombers, are looking for places at the next Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. Now, leading the pack is Captain Suleiman Atete, who will be fighting at flyweight, Samuel Techi at featherweight, Jesse Latte at welterweight, and Shakur Samed at light heavyweight. Now, these four boxers, by winning their bouts, will better their chances of booking spots at the next Olympic Games. Now, let's just remember that boxing is Ghana's most successful sport at the Olympic Games. Let's remember also that Eddie Blaze Sr., Ike Quartey Sr., and Prince Amati were the ones who won our 3 medals for us in boxing, which is the most successful sport at the Olympic Games. Now, based on these statistics and the prospects that these boys carry, executive member of the Ghana Boxing Authority and seasoned trainer Carl Loco is asking government to give more support to boxing.
The government have not fully sponsored the national team when it comes to the Black Bombers. And I always say it the way it is. You have to say it the way. These boys and the team need the full support of the sports council or the sports ministry. And if they are not getting that support, please, I'm using this medium to say it clear down. These boxers need the sports minister to put his feet down, the government to put their feet down to make sure they help these boys. Because it is not only about the team, but it is about the individual boys who are trying to make something for themselves in future and make the name of Ghana proud. So I don't think they should be struggling, passing through certain things. They are doing good now. And I believe when they come and they are qualified, all of us will talk about them, even the ministry, even whoever, the top officials. So why are we waiting to come in at the last minute? So I'm using this medium again to say they need our support from the government.
All right, Carl Loco there, and we'll be monitoring very closely the events in Dakar, Senegal, and we'll be bringing them to our listeners in our subsequent bulletins. That's your sport.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel Atto.
Mensa Gold has promised you that you will get your money within a specific number of weeks. A new company has come out and the name is Payboy. And it is the boy that you will send around to go get your pay. It's very simple. All that it is that now when you talk to this company,
that is radio presenter Black Rasta on Accra-based Xylophone FM, one of the companies belonging to CEO of the Mensa Gold dealership Mensa Gold, Anapia Mensa, announcing the existence of a third-party broker to pay up aggrieved customers of the firm. The customers who have been agitating for more than a year have been calling on owners of the firm to pay them their monies. But in a rather interesting twist, a company which describes itself as a professional digital payment solutions firm has emerged, offering to help pay the customers. But the procedures for making the payment is raising concerns among the customer groups. Spokesperson for the aggrieved customers of Mensa Gold, Isaac Nyako, is questioning the credibility of Payboy.
Mensa Gold has not told us anything officially as to whether they've instructed Payboy to be their third-party partner to pay Mensa Gold customers. Is it not in the interest of Mensa Gold company to issue an official letter? That is our question. Does it also mean that their 3 years plan that they brought earlier on has been thrown overboard because of Payboy? Why should it be compulsory that if you want to have your money from Mensa Gold, you should go and pay 9% to Payboy, and then Payboy will take 18 months to pay? What if Payboy and Mensa Gold happens to fall out of contracts and there's an issue? Who is going to refund the money, the 9% money to us? The reason why we even doubt and we believe it's Mensa Gold who is even behind the whole thing is Payboy occupies the office of Xylophone Properties at Jawulu. I mean, are they into full Ghanaians and make us think we are just... That means that they can just manipulate anyhow. If there's any money to be paid, it should be Mensa Gold who is paying Payboy, not customers who have nothing to do with Payboy.
So there are many questions about the said contract between Payboy and Mensa Gold, with some suggesting the company belongs to CEO of the Mensa Gold dealership and Anapia Mensa. Well, Komla Adam, you've been monitoring. What does it say? What do you know?
Well, there's a statement on the Instagram page of Anapia Mensa, who is the CEO of a defunct firm. Now, he says his attention has been drawn to ill impressions inspired by false reportage created by a section of the media. Now, he says Mensa Gold is committed to its 3-year payment plan. The fact remains that he says, have made pretty good payments so far and continue to do so quietly. He says Mensa Gold only recognizes Payboy in its capacity as brokering debt settlements agreement between Mensa Gold and the parties affected by the scenario, and so he doesn't own Payboy.
Well, that's the situation there. About 2 years ago, it was a town in the dark, cut off from the rest of the world because it did not have a mobile telephony network. Residents had to trek for over 30 minutes to hang their phones under a tree on the outskirts of the town to make and receive phone calls. Joining us first through the spotlight on the plight of the residents of the Upper West regional town of Bawogo in 2018. Today, the town has mobile connection because the communication mast has been built for them. In our Impact series this week, Joy News' Justice Bedu went back to see how this is transforming lives.
For we, dear, you have to travel, look for a motor bike to fuel and go to that place to do the call. At times you think as if you are not even part of Ghana.
The story we first told and the coverage that followed in the days after that inspired change. Today, things are not the same. This mast was built in June 2019, marking a turnaround in the community's story.
Journey's people, they have done what Napoli cannot do for us.
I've come back to the home of Ilyasu Halidu, who I interviewed on our first visit here. Ilyasu had just lost her pregnant wife who was in labor because there was no network to place a phone call for an ambulance when her delivery got complicated.
Now we get change. Now if we get that emergency, so we can help ourselves.
Impact Stories continues to be told. during our 25 years anniversary. You'll hear more of that. Now, he went through some of life's most difficult situations, lost his father at the age of 4 and cleaned up people's homes as a minor to raise money for school. So growing up in the slum of Nungwa Zongo, life was indeed tough for Dr. Hadi Abdallah. Here's his story.
People used to laugh at me. Even your community, no one has been to completed university before. No girl in my family had even gone to secondary school and in fact, apart from my senior sister, direct seniors, I'm from a polygamous family
of 12 children.
Yes, all the girls which came before my senior sister had never even sat in a classroom before.
Wow!
So it was laughable that I could dream at that time to become a doctor and even become a neurosurgeon, but I decided to stay on course no matter what. The difficulties were going through medical school. I've managed to change the mindset of our people, and we have almost about 5 doctors now.
Wow!
Most of the young guys are
from Nungwa.
Yeah, from Nungwa. That's Zongo.
That's the story of Dr. Hadi Abdallah. He did it. You can do it too. We can all do it. And that's it for the midday news. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apawu. Thanks so much for your company. Dr. Mensa Gold.